Today we are going to talk about hexokinase versus glucokinase. Hexokinase, that is hexose and kinase activity. Hexokinase are the enzymes which causes kinase activity of hexose. What are hexoses? Glucose, fructose and mannose are major hexoses. Hexokinase phosphorylates hexose. Hexose phosphorylated hexose by hexokinase and ATP is used. There are major four types of hexokinase. Type 1, 2 and 3 are similar, while type 4 is different. This type 4 is called glucokinase. In this way, glucokinase is a special type of hexokinase. Hexokinase is like babies, as it loves glucose. As babies loves glucose, similar to hexokinase. So hexokinase can be compared with babies. But glucokinase can be compared with mother because mothers do not like glucose as much, and that is sweet, as much as babies do. And mother saves glucose for future if present in excess. Likewise, glucokinase saves glucose for future if it is present in excess. In this way, glucokinase is like babies and hexokinase is like babies and glucokinase is like mother. Okay. Hexokinase are present in all metabolizing cells. Glucose enters to the cell, then glucose is converted to glucose 6-phosphate by hexokinase. ATP used here. Once glucose enters into a cell, it is immediately converted to glucose 6-phosphate. Why? Because as glucose can easily pass through the cell, that is, it can cross the cell membrane. If the entered glucose remains glucose, it exits through the cell, but glucose 6-phosphate is large enough to exit. It cannot exit through the cell, so that large molecule and more polar, it cannot escape through the cell membrane. And this glucose transporter can only transport glucose but not glucose 6-phosphate. Hexokinase 1, 2 and 3 are present in all metabolizing cells. But hexokinase 4, that is glucokinase, is present in, here is L. Okay, in glucokinase there is L, so that hepatocytes, that is liver, liver. Hypothalamus, here is L and K cells of GIT, and beta cell, this is like L, beta cells of pancreas. Substrate spectrum. Hexokinase, that is kinase activity of hexoses. Hexoses include glucose, fructose and mannose. But glucokinase, the name suggests glucokinase, that is glucose kinase activity, so that it is selective to glucose. It can be remembered in a funny way that glucokinase is like mother and hexokinase is like baby. That is, for example, a mother can walk or can travel only with her husband. That is, mother can travel with only her husband. That is selective. But baby, that is girl, let's say girl can travel with any person. Okay, it is not selective. So that hexokinase is not selective, but glucokinase is selective. Hexokinase and glucokinase are isoenzymes. That is, they catalyze the same reaction but have different properties. Hexokinase is baby. Baby has high affinity towards candies. They love glucose so much, so that they have high affinity. but low capacity, they cannot handle many glucose. They have high affinity but low capacity. But glucokinase is like mother. They have low affinity. They do not love glucose as much as their babies do. But they can handle glucose in large amount. If they are present in large amount, they can store the glucose for future. So that glucokinase have low affinity, high capacity. Let's revise again. Hexokinase high affinity, low capacity. Babies have high affinity towards glucose, but they cannot handle too much glucose. Glucokinase low affinity, high capacity enzyme. Mothers have low affinity towards candy, but they can handle and manage and store too much candy. Neurons should have high affinity enzyme hexokinase so that even very low glucose is present, neuron can utilize it. When glucose enters to neuron, hexokinase converts glucose to glucose 6-phosphate so that glucose concentration decreases and further glucose enters to the cells. Beta cells of pancreas and hepatocytes, that is liver cell, should have low affinity enzyme, that is glucokinase. Why? In fasting state, when little glucose enters to the beta cell, glucokinase have low affinity so that it doesn't convert glucose to glucose 6-phosphate, so that there is no decrease in glucose concentration inside the beta cell, so that there is no further entry of glucose. That's why insulin release will be low. In hepatocytes, in the fasting condition, little glucose enters. As glucokinase have little affinity, glucose is not converted to glucose 6-phosphate. So there will be no further entry of glucose. That's why there will be no conversion of glucose, which is little during fasting condition, to glucose, glycogen and triglycerols. We know that hexokinase have high affinity. That is, baby have high affinity towards candies, but low capacity. Affinity related with Km, that is Km value. Km value is inversely proportional to affinity. Look here, Km value is inversely proportional to affinity. If affinity is high, Km value is low. If affinity is low, Km value is high. Km, substrate concentration at which half of the Vmaximum is obtained. As hexokinase has high affinity, due to inverse relation, it should have low Km. Similarly, it has low capacity, that is low Vmax. Now, for glucokinase, it has low affinity, that is high Km, but high capacity, that is high Vmax. Now, hexokinase is inhibited by glucose 6-phosphate. This is called feedback inhibition. Feedback inhibition of hexokinase by glucose 6-phosphate. Glucokinase is present in beta cells of pancreas, liver, thalamus, and LNK cell of GIT. Beta cells of pancreas has GLUT2. Beta cells of pancreas, GLUT2. The trick to remember GLUT2, where GLUT2 is found is beta cells like GLUT2. Beta cells of pancreas, liver, intestine, and kidney have GLUT2. And then now finally we compare glucokinase versus hexokinase. This is the summary. Hexokinase is widely distributed. It is present in all metabolizing cells, but glucokinase is present in specific cells. YAL, remember YAL. YAL for liver, YAL for beta cells. Okay, B is like YAL. And L and K cells, thalamus. Means somnibulae. Hexokinase, broad spectrum of substrate: glucose, fructose, mannose. Hexose, glucokinase, only glucose. Hexokinase is like mother. Hexokinase is like babies. Baby can travel to any person. Glucokinase is like mother. Mother can travel with only her husband, that is father. High affinity. Glucokinase is like baby. Sorry. Hexokinase is like baby. It has high affinity towards candies. Glucokinase is like mother. It has low affinity towards candies. Hexokinase is like baby. As baby cannot handle too much glucose. It has low capacity. Glucokinase is like mother. Mother can handle too much glucose. It has high capacity. Hexokinase is regulated by glucose 6-phosphate, but glucokinase is indirectly regulated by fructose 6-phosphate. There is direct association between glucokinase and insulin, but no relation between insulin and hexokinase. As glucokinase is present in liver cell and beta cell, there is direct relation of glucokinase and insulin.